what I would say is if you don't have any uncomfortable goals, then you're not setting them big enough.
Yeah, I'd agree.
You should have, these are some of these things we've been talking about are daily goals, maybe weekly goals, but what are you giving yourself conscious to go to work on? What kind of questions are you asking? One of mine I've talked about was I set a goal to how do I make $1 million on one deal? Mm-hmm. Another goal that I gave myself was everyone was talking about, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. Well, I know a millionaire. They have $1 million when they were 65. $1 million when you're 65 has to last you till you're 90. That's not really in my head what a millionaire was. And so I came up with this idea that I want to be able to spend $1 million in a year, like every year.
All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to How to Invest in Commercial Real Estate. We are a podcast focused on breaking down commercial real estate investing for the average person. Today, we're talking about an interesting topic, and it's a topic we're very passionate about and talk about a lot because I think it's underrated, is the power of setting goals, setting achievable goals, putting a plan in action. And when you look at real estate, it's big, it's large, it's illiquid. It takes a long time to buy. It takes a long time to close. You have to typically own it for a long period of time. So it's not like a whim. You can just decide, hey, I'm going to buy a shopping center today. Hey, I'm going to underwrite it tomorrow. Hey, I'm going to sell it the day after that. You've got to have a plan or a goal of what you want to do with that before you can even begin. So we're going to go over several steps on where you might start if you're interested in getting into commercial real estate. Hey, you're in commercial real estate, a little bit, what now? And then for people already in the game, how do you set realistic, stabilized growth goals to take your business to the next level?
No, that's good.
So I think the first one is, you're interested in commercial real estate. You may be listening to a podcast called How to Invest in Commercial Real Estate by a bunch of awesome guys. Or you could just be reading a book. Your friend could have mentioned it to you. You own a rent house and you're just trying to figure out how to take it to the next level. Where do you kind of set the foundation of, hey, I want to get into commercial real estate and I want to do a little bit more than I'm doing now?
Oh, yeah, I think a lot of people that are listening to the podcast, I've had many of my friends say it to me, man, I've heard commercial real estate's great. I should get into it. But most people, it's just like you say, it's such a big idea that they don't know how to start.
It's a little intimidating.
And we just want to give some people some tools that they can use in order to get in the game and get started. And so for me, now having been through the process, what would I tell someone that's heard commercial real estate's great, don't know where to start? How do they set some goals for themselves in order to begin getting in the game? And now is better than 5 years from now and 10 years from now. So we want to encourage people to start taking action. Yeah. And so some of the things that I would suggest for people that want to get in and haven't started is what I tell friends that ask me is that number one is get on Amazon, type in commercial real estate investing, and the books that pop up, buy 5 or 10 of those books. There's going to be How to Kill It in Commercial Real Estate, how to retire early with commercial real estate, how to syndicate commercial real estate, how to buy apartment buildings, how to underwrite. All of those books are going to be there. And there's just no better way to get started than buying those books and carving out an hour a day and reading. They will change your life. But the main thing they're going to do is they're going to start giving you the knowledge to take the next steps. Right now, if I told you go interview the best broker in town, on commercial real estate, you wouldn't even know what to ask them.
Yeah.
Okay. But once you've read these books, then you're going to read about how to multiply your ROI and how to, increase your IRR and cash on cash, how to calculate that. And so you may have questions. Well, what's cap rates in my market? And, what could I expect to earn on my money if I bought this kind of deal? Well, the books will help you get enough knowledge to go to the next step.
Yeah, well, I actually did that, and you guys probably did too. But so, I started out as passive investing, but when we decided to do Criterion, I thought, man, I've done passive investing, but that's not enough for me to, underwrite deals or know which deals to get. So I did exactly that. I went on Amazon. I put in the search bar commercial real estate, and there's thousands of them, but you just look and you say, oh, I need to know more about that. I'll buy that one, and I need to know more about that one. Just bought them and read them, and it was extremely helpful.
Yeah, I think you've just got to be around it. You know, you're the average of the 5 people you hang around. You become who you are around. You're going to absorb like a sponge whatever environment you put yourself in. So when you're in an environment in the car on your way to work and you're listening to commercial real estate podcasts and you're reading a book about commercial real estate, you're talking to your buddies about commercial real estate. You find a guy on Instagram who buys cool commercial real estate deals and he's not a douche. You follow that guy and you start to absorb some information. And pretty soon you've got enough to be dangerous, right? Like you said, you've got enough to ask some better questions. But I think it starts in the footing of all of this is knowledge, right? And with Google out there, I mean, Google plus effort, we say it all the time, Google plus effort equals knowledge. And it's true. Get out there, Google some podcasts, Google some books, Google some mentors, and start soaking it up.
Okay, well, I was just going to say, okay, so for the beginner, okay, so that's goal number 1. Let's go buy some books.
Learn, get educated.
Knowledge. Okay, what else?
Number 2, I would set a goal to have lunch or coffee with an industry professional every single week.
Mm-hmm. How do you find that guy or girl?
Well, you can use Google. You know, tallest real estate brokers, but also you may see their sign. There may be a property management company sign in front of a retail,
and you see it all over town.
Yeah,
right?
there may be an apartment owner that has a sign out in front of their apartment complex.
There's a
multifamily owner,
and real quick, these are. I mean, I think people get intimidated already by this. You see a sign, you call them, and here's your script. Hey, my name's Braden. They're going to say their name. I'm going into way too much detail here. You're going to say, I saw you have a sign in front of this property. It looks like you manage it. Is that correct? And they're going to say, yeah, we do manage that property. We're in charge of all that. You're going to say, I'm interested in buying properties like that. Would you be able to manage them for me? Can we have a conversation? Can we sit down and discuss how I may be able to use you to get what I need? You just do it.
Yeah. Now they're excited because they have some potential business.
Yeah.
And then you sit down and you could say, hey, tell me about your management approach. What makes you different from other property managers for multifamily or retail? Now they're walking you through industry keys, maybe some tips they have. Can I see a monthly report that you give your owners just to sample? Maybe mark out the name so I can see a monthly financial statement of that center.
Yeah,
I mean, now you got some real good info from a professional in the industry on monthly expenses, monthly income, things like that. Do you have any trouble renting these spaces? What do these spaces rent for?
Yeah,
$12 a foot a year, $20 a foot a year. Now, is that below market? Is that above market? What about this location over here that I'm looking at? What do you think those would rent for? Now you're getting all this good industry knowledge by making a phone call.
Yeah.
Yeah. And pretty soon they're going to look at you and they're going to say, hey, what are you looking for? Are you looking for something like this property that you saw? And you're going to say, yeah, that would be perfect. Not sure where to start. Not sure how much that is. And they're going to say, well, I know somebody over here that's looking to sell this center and they're looking for a buyer. Can I send it your way?
That's happened to us lots of times.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time, right? We just bought a property in Wichita. The first thing I did is call a bunch of people in Wichita and say, hey, we're new buyers in the market. Here's what we bought. I would love to buy more of this. If you find a comparable product that looks like my shopping center, I'd love to take a look at it because we're in this market. We've got the relationships. We're soaking up the knowledge. Going from one center to 2 centers in the same city is way easier than that first center in the city. And it's pretty soon, it just starts to build on top of itself really quick.
Well, on the other side of that, we've had people call us. They see the podcast or they've heard about us, and they call us and invite us to coffee, and they kind of pick our brain, right? They're just getting started, and they want to. It can be
intimidating, and so if you're listening to this, you might say, "Well, what if they sense that I don't know what I'm doing?" Yeah. I had that thought, and I sometimes still have that thought when I'm talking to people. I'm like, man, I don't know that much about this area or this property, and so maybe they'll think that I don't know what I'm doing. But you can't worry about that. That's why you start with the books first, is you gain enough knowledge to talk about the subject that you want to learn about. But you can't worry about that. I've never blown someone off that said, hey, I want to learn about the property, or I have some questions. Now, I may not meet them every week at 9 a.m. on a Monday, but I will both have a conversation with them and point them in the direction of some additional knowledge.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else for any other goals for beginner? We talked about knowledge, talking to industry professionals.
I would get involved in a couple of real estate groups in your area. There's going to be, like commercially, there may be a CCIM chapter. Mm-hmm. There may, BOMA, it's not great, but for investors, but building owners and managers. What's another one? NAOP. What is that?
Each
National Association of Office Industrial Properties, but it also includes multifamily as well.
Yeah, you've got each state typically has a real estate chapter you can get in. Each municipality, like the Greater Tulsa Association of Realtors, is one you could be in if you're local to here. There's so many, and you can leverage those and just go in. They want to bring you in. They're probably collecting some sort of membership fee or some lunch fee, so it's a win-win for them. And you're going to sit at a bunch table or at a table with a bunch of people, and you're just going to start asking people, "Hey, what do you do?" Blah 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 blah. Pretty soon you're going to have some contacts. Geez, you're going to have an iPhone contact list full of contacts in commercial real estate. You're going to know 5 leasing brokers. You're going to know 500 roofers. I promise you that. The biggest thing you're going to get out of these organizations is 500 roofing contacts. You're going to know property management companies. You're going to know lenders. You're going to know anybody you need to. And that kind of brings us to the next point is you need to find a partner, right? Because even if you're like, nobody does a deal by themselves. They typically have a lender, right? Not by themselves. They're not buying it in cash by themselves. I promise you, people do not do deals by themselves. They have a manager, they have a leasing team, they have an attorney, they have an accountant, they have a lender, they may have a team of investors. They're putting together the dream team, right? So you need to find a group of people, a lender, investors are big ones. All the other ones are equally as important in their own way. But you need to find a team that can help you achieve what you need to. And you need to, being at these lunches, being in the events, surrounding yourself, helps you get that team built. And then pretty soon you're capable, right? You base yourself in knowledge. You're dangerous enough to ask better questions. You're asking better questions. You're around more people. Pretty soon you've got a ton of deals around you. You need to be underwriting these deals, right? You've got to be underwriting these deals.
Yes, I would say that's the next step is you've gotten some knowledge and you've talked to people and now you're starting to see opportunities and deals. Is you need to set a goal to look at 50 properties a week, let's say.
And how are you going to find those properties on there's some lists or something, websites you could go to?
Crexy.com, being on the brokers list, you know, whoever the brokers are in your area, you know, hey, I saw your sign, I saw your advertisement, I need to get on your list, I'm looking to buy. Okay. And so they'll add you to the list. But you need to have deals showing up in your inbox every day. And then you need to be looking at probably, 50 is a lot in a week, but I'm not saying you have to spend more than 10 minutes looking at them, but you need to know what is available, what is for sale in my market. And
if you just get on Crexy, you're going to get 50 emails a day. That's hard. It's hard to look through. You know what I mean? Most McDonald's shit, 50 acres and nowhere, you know, apartment complex that's never going to sell ever. You can weed it out pretty quick.
Yeah, but at least you're starting to get deals in. And then out of those 50 that you're going to underwrite, set a goal to underwrite 5 deals, let's say a week at first.
Yeah, pick a top 5. And
just that's a deal. And you may say, well, how do I underwrite a deal? Well, you need to, maybe watch a podcast if we've done one on it. Yeah, you can Google that. There's books on how to underwrite commercial real estate deals, but let's save that for another podcast. And so you want to say, okay, once a day, I want to take the financials of a deal that I got sent in my email box, and I want to underwrite it or evaluate it and see how much money is it going to take to buy it.
Yep.
And how much, what the loan's going to be, and how much cash on cash can I make, and what my IRR is for the whole period. Okay. And you don't even have to do anything with that information.
Right.
But now you know, okay, that property makes 14% cash on cash and a 20% IRR at this given purchase price. Okay, great. The next day, this one makes 8% cash on cash and only a 12% IRR over the whole period. Okay. And the thing is, if you'll force yourself to do the work, then over time, when you see a deal come in your inbox, you're going to know. Yeah. You're not going to have to spend all that time. You're going to be, okay, I know kind of what that deal does.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah, I would also say that some of those deals you're underwriting, maybe your top few a week, you call the broker, you call the listing broker who's selling it and just ask some questions. Hey, where do you think this is going to trade? Why? What's the story on this deal?
Yeah, why is the seller selling? How long has he owned it?
Yep.
Looking for clues that might be providing you an opportunity.
Then you're going to be saving all of these. Anything you underwrite, you're saving in some old, I call it the old deal pipeline. I just shove all of the old deals I ever looked at in that pipeline just in case it comes back around or it's in my market and I want to have the information for later. I have it saved. So you're saving all of that. And then after that property sells, right, you're going to pick a few. You're not going to do this on everyone. You're going to call the broker back. You're going to say, hey, I saw that property sold. If you remember, I called you. I was interested in this. What did that end up in trade for? What did that end up in sell for? Where was the buyer from? What was the value that they saw in this property? And then you can compare that against your underwriting. Maybe it sold for way less than it was listed for, and the return would have been better. You're learning as you're going through this, right?
Well, and going back to the topic of setting goals, what we're trying to impress on you is if you don't, in the beginning at least, set daily and weekly and monthly goals of actions, then you're going to get busy with the busyness of life, and you're not going to do it.
Well, and plus you can't just set a big goal, one big goal that says, okay, I'm gonna offer, or I'm gonna buy 20 million this year. That's too big. You need these steps along the way, right?
So we can kind of graduate. Now that we've gone through what we suggest you do if you're wanting to get in the game, let's say you're in the game. Now, what kind of goals should you be setting?
You need to be shooting, 100 free throws a day or whatever it is. You need to be underwriting. You need to be offering on deals. You need to be trying to get deals. You need to be out in the market. You need to set a big, lofty goal. If you're out there, if you know how to do this, if you've got your investment criteria dialed down, I want to be in these markets. I want to have this much yield. I want to have this type of shopping center. I don't want any tenant to be more than this. I'm focused on multifamily. Once you've got that, the deals are out there that fit in your criteria. You're just not aware of them yet. You haven't found them. You haven't put in enough work to find those deals because they're out there. They exist.
Yeah. So middle now we're getting to you're in the game, but you're still not buying a bunch of deals. I would say that the next goal needs to be to make offers.
Make an offer. Yeah.
You need to be submitting low LOIs on deals that you've underwritten, maybe 3 a week, let's say.
And you're ready to perform on them. Like you can perform.
Well, I don't know. I don't want to say they have to be absolutely ready to perform. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But you've got to start putting those LOIs out there.
Just to get comfortable with it.
Just to get comfortable. And most of them are not going to, the sellers aren't going to take your offer. But if you do and the deal's good enough, you can, maybe put the team together. Another thing I think you should do is, and we should still be doing this, is getting a new lender on board. In your back pocket, maybe once every week or two.
In your back pocket, you mean you should be talking to
the lender? What kind of deals do they like to see? What kind of term sheet are they going to issue? Do they have all your financials? Have they underwritten you? Are they ready to go? Because that process takes some time.
Yeah.
And also, every time we get a new lender on, sometimes the lender will do 80% where the last one was 75. Some will do 85%. Sometimes one lender will be at 3.5 or another one's at 4.5. So you need a bunch of these lenders ready to go. And so I don't want to have 3 lenders in my back pocket ready to ship a deal to once I get an LOI, accepted. Mm-hmm. I want to have 8 or 10. Mm-hmm. Another thing you should be doing once you get in the game is you should be trying to meet a new investor every single week.
Yeah,
maybe more.
That's a good idea. Yeah, probably.
I'm saying 1, but maybe it's 2 or 3. Potential investors.
Yep.
Hey, I'm in commercial real estate now. I've just got my first deal, or I'm about to buy my first deal. I'd like to talk with you and see if you have interest in maybe partnering with me on it. Mm-hmm. Okay, sit down and have the conversation, and then set up the next meeting and set up the next meeting. So you're adding to your list now. If you'll do 1 or 2 or 3 a week, after a year, that's 100 people on your list.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And most people, once again, we've talked about this, but they're not going to say, "Don't add me to your list. I don't want to see any deals that might make me money."
Yeah.
They're going to say, "Sure, put me on the list. I'll let you know if I'm interested." And they may not be, but the more you get on that list, now you have a contact list. They're going to start seeing your stuff.
Well, that's a good idea, because if you wait until you get that first deal before, oh gosh, now I got to go raise $1 million, you're behind the 8 ball then, because you got a lot of other stuff you've got to do. Once that LOI is accepted, you've got all your due diligence and everything else. So if you wait until then to start raising money or make contacts with investors, you're a little late. So I like that idea of doing that, beforehand.
Yeah, I think if you've got the property under LOI and you don't have the team assembled, or you don't have a few people, you're way behind the 8 ball.
Yeah,
you've
got to have this whole team, like we've talked about on a lot of our podcasts.
Yeah, and that's important. So once you find the deal, most of it should be on pause, on standby, just over the side, ready to go. Mm-hmm. I mean, our team is on standby, ready to go at any moment. I'll send out an offer and copy the accountant, copy the attorney, copy the broker. And then everyone knows the role. Everyone knows what to do. Okay, I write these documents this way. Okay, we're getting this loan because that's what they asked for. And the loan, I know we harp on this a lot, but everything you do, you need to be getting a market rate. And if you don't know how to find a market rate, like you need to be calling 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 on 10 people and getting different opinions on everything, especially in the beginning when you don't know if you're getting taken advantage of. You're dealing with a potential lot of money, a lot of zeros, a lot of ignorance, maybe perhaps. And you need to be getting bids. We still get bids on everything we do. We go get property condition reports in markets that we're not in and haven't operated in yet. We get multiple bids. We get environmental reports. We get surveys. We get all of these things. Management companies. If you're saying yes to the first time anybody's offering something like, "Hey, I'm going to go do this. It's 7%." Yep, sure. Like, what if they would have taken 4 and they didn't know you? It was this random number. You sounded like an idiot, so they charged you double and you just didn't ask. There's some effort to be had here.
For sure. Okay, so we've talked a little bit about the middle game. Now let's talk about how to use goals to really challenge ourselves. Because what I would say is if you don't have any uncomfortable goals, then you're not setting them big enough.
Yeah, I'd agree.
You should have. I mean, these are some of these things we've been talking about are daily goals, maybe weekly goals. But what are you giving your self-conscious to go to work on? What kind of questions are you asking? One of mine I've talked about was I set a goal to how do I make $1 million on one deal? Another goal that I gave myself was everyone was talking about, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. Well, I know a million. They have $1 million when they were 65. $1 million when you're 65 has to last you till you're 90. That's not really in my head what a millionaire was. And so I came up with this idea that I want to be able to spend $1 million in a year, like every year. Can you spend $1 million in a year? Can you spend $1 million every year? Then I would feel like a millionaire, because to spend $1 million every year, you're going to have to be buying stuff. You're going to have to be going on vacations, and your lifestyle is going to be such that it will be that picture in your mind that you have from Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous and then being a millionaire or whatever. So maybe that's a goal. I don't know if that's your goal. Maybe it's, to be in the Caribbean on a boat. You quit your day job. Maybe that's a goal for you. But something that really lights your shit on fire. But also it's so big that it makes it uncomfortable day to day. Hey man, how am I gonna do that? Yeah. Because what you're doing is you're challenging your subconscious to go to work to find that solution
every day,
and it's working behind the scenes, not magic, but just it knows where you're going in life. I want to find a way to retire, at 35 or at 45. I want to find a way to spend $1 million a year, or to have the house or whatever. And so you want to put that in place and then let your subconscious go to work.
Yeah. I like that.
I think that's really good stuff. You gotta aim big. I would say break down into a small enough piece that it feels, a little uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, maybe achievable, and then tack on, 20, 30, 40, 50%. You're going to look at this thing and it's going to be huge. You could multiply it over the course of 5 years and it's going to be even bigger. But you're going to, like, even if you got like half of it, dude, if it's a big enough goal, half of it's going to be freaking amazing. It really is.
And I want to end, we'll wrap it up with this, but I want to end with this, is that I felt like I set some really big goals. And today we're doing stuff that I never thought I would do. Yeah. Even after setting those big goals and achieving those goals, the deals we're doing today, the profit we're making today far exceeded even what I tried to set for myself. So I want to encourage you guys, let your mind go free, decide what you want and set those big goals, and then use what we did at the beginning of the show and break it down into daily steps, and you'll be surprised where you are 5 years from now, 10 years from now.
Alrighty. Well, thanks for joining us on this episode of How to Invest in Commercial Real Estate. As always, if you have a topic suggestion for the next idea, feel free to comment or message us, and we will catch you next week on How to Invest in Commercial Real Estate.
All right. Thanks, guys.